Have you seen my kick-ass subscription box anywhere? Oh, there it is.
Racing action on Tim's Corner Motorsports is presented by Pache Motors, the largest Ram truck dealer in Atlantic Canada. Browse their inventory online at pachemotors.com. Tranquility. Help for anxiety is only a click away. Learn more by visiting tranquility.app. Finish Line Vinyl Design, the official decal supplier of Tim's Corner Motorsports. Like them on Facebook at facebook.com/finishline vinyl design. And by CB Warren's Auto Care.
Hey, I'm CTWE wrestler The Mac.
And I'm Showtime Stevie Stamos.
Have you ever dreamed of owning your own race car and taking it out for a test drive? Well, thanks to our friends that Rent a Race Car, you can!
Visit www.rentaracecarne.com for all the details on how you can take one of these babies out to Stafford Motor Speedway. We'll see you at the races.
Touchdown!
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Vidane TV, where it is race car fighting time once again. Monday night here with the NEPS League, the New England, Pennsylvania iRacing Series, here at the Watkins Glen for the Zanie at the Glennie 30 laps here at Watkins Glen, up to 3 cautions at the race director's discretion, and we will see exactly what goes down. These boys just wrapping up qualifying here, and looks like we've got a 24-car field here to get going for the Shift Marketing and Design Grand National Series. And as always, I am Showtime Paul Strickland Jr., and I'm not up here alone. The legend in his own right, Tim Terry, up here beside me from Tim's Corner Motorsports. Tim, how are we feeling tonight?
Yeah, so far so good. When you look at the qualifying times, it's kind of status quo. Top 4 drivers in points are the top 4 drivers that are going to start this thing. So going to be exciting. John Peters is the guy to beat. It tends to be on these road courses, but we might see some surprises here tonight.
Really tough to call who's going to win this here at the grid of the race, the start of the race, if you will, because a lot of these guys only race on the short tracks. There's a couple of ringers in there that run the super speedways. We see Kyle Casagrande always running the Sim 500 Vidane Racing Super Speedway race. I believe he actually ran the Tim's Corner Super Speedway race this past Saturday as well. I may be mistaken on that, but not often that these boys come down to the road course and turn left and right. This is actually the 3rd race of the season. John Peters has won the first 2 of those road courses, trying to make it a trifecta here in the late 2020 season.
Yeah, the last time that they did stop at a road course, it was the Lime Rock Park back in October, and it was John Peters taking away the victory. So we'll see what happens here. I almost liken it when we do the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series, where Bobby Zielinski's always so quick. John Peters in practice, I believe, was 4/10 up on the next closest driver. In qualifying, it's over a half second between himself and Kenny Kibbe. So there's a little bit of time to be made up if you're those drivers out back. Maybe you think you're racing for second, but it's Watkins Glen. There's a lot of technical portions of this racetrack. A lot can happen over 30 laps.
A lot of quick sweeping S's on the back straight there, a lot of tight corners as well, and a whole lot of mystery as these cars get ready to roll there on the very long front stretch as they go down to turn number 1. This racetrack, Tim, actually starts with a right-hand turn, very different than the couple of lefts that we usually see in between the start and the finish of the race.
Yeah, you go over the right-hand turn, and then you're going to come up through the S's uphill, and you got a little bit of that straightaway before you get to the bus stop. This is one of the oldest racetracks when it comes to road course racing that we're used to seeing with stock cars, let's put it that way, on the iRacing service. So this one's been around for a while. The car, obviously, that we're running, one of the older cars as well, the former Xfinity car, which is now the ARCA National car, what would be the Busch North or Busch Grand National car that we see with throwbacks on the Monday and Thursday evening. So this combination has been around for a while. These drivers have had an opportunity tonight to shake down and practice a little bit, and now we really get down to the brass tacks, 30 laps, and the one thing that you did mention is up to 3 cautions at the race director's discretion. So I think the last road course race that these guys ran, I think there was 1 caution when they ran Lime Rock. So there could be some yellows in here. If we have a big wreck down into turn number 1, takes out half the field, we could see the caution thrown. We'll see how this all transpires.
For sure, and it's one of those things, Tim, where these guys aren't racing on the road courses very often. Like I said, they've done it 3 times. This will be the 3rd time, so a lot of practice laps, a lot more practice laps, I would think, would go into these road course races, getting ready for these, than they would usually the short tracks or the intermediate tracks that we run. A little bit different than running the circle tracks, especially with these cars. They're big, heavy stock cars, and don't really handle as well as some of the actual open wheel cars and some of the road course cars here in the iRacing service.
Field working down the short straightaway into the final couple of corners before we do see the green flag fly, and John Peters will get ready to race. He is the driver coming into this evening that is kind of playing chasing points. He's sitting second in the point standings to Ryan Libby. Libby starting in a position at number 4 as they come by the final couple of corners, getting ready to see the green flag. Pace car is in, and John Peters getting ready to put the hammer down. Green flag flies, and now, Paul, the question is, do we all make turn number 1?
Always the big question here at Watkins Glen, or any short track or any road course race as well. Here they go. John Peters leading them down. Doesn't have any pressure from the side or right behind him, but it's 2x2 still all the way through this field. Everybody doing a great job, giving a lot of room, a lot of give and take here early on in the race. We just started, so we don't want to wreck it on lap number 1.
A lot of give and take through turn number 1. Nobody really taking it off either as they run up the hill and through the S's. And most of these drivers have found a place to race right now. You can see them getting single file, and up in front continues to be John Peters leading and extending the lead fairly early here over Evan Boiler. But you look back through the field, I think everybody's kind of found a place to race right now. This might be smart on their behalf.
Yeah, you can see just about everybody in the top 10 is single file at this point, knowing that there's 30 laps here at this 2.5-mile road course, and it really takes a lot of, you don't really know how many tires you're going to need throughout the race. Definitely going to be a factor here with tire wear. Not something we usually see what these guys have to worry about, but a lot of unknowns here at the road course.
And especially trying to manage your gap as well. They'll come by this time. John Peters hits the front straightaway and will complete lap number 1, and we'll start to see that gap in between. We talked about the 4 and 5 tenths or so in practice and qualifying that Peters was able to gap the field. He's gapped the 56 by almost a second on lap number 1. So Peters pulling away, and now if you're in the middle of the pack, you really start to try to gain some positions. You know there could potentially be a caution at some point in this race, but you want to gain some track position now so you don't have to do it later.
Speaking of middle of the pack, we just taking a look right now at the number 14 of Zane Farrell, currently running 7th position, holding on to the top 10 there. Just a big slide coming out of one of the corners. Looks like he hit the dirt barricade there, but new paint scheme, new colors there for the number 14 ride. Just taking a look. Can't really slow the cameras down enough, but I'm trying to look on the back of the race car, Tim. There's a heart, and it looks like there's some letters in it. It looks like it's Lacey. Lacey's name inside of a heart on his race car. Isn't that sweet, Tim?
It is, and right now running up close to the top 5, so a great run so far. I know Lacey's cheering on Zane on the Vidane TV stream, but needs a little more, a couple of more positions to get up here, but we still got plenty of laps to do it. Ryan Libby is falling back, though. Your point, Lear, you see him there right in front of Zane, and now going to be behind Zane as he makes the move off the final corner to put Ryan Libby back one spot. Parhefka made the move in behind a close for Danny O'Quinn. And
big hit for the 61 Brandon Newhouse. You see, he spun, lost the back end of the race car, hit the barrels there. Looks like there's another car back around as well. Looks like maybe Michael Bennett back there. Nope, I lied there. There you see the 61 Brandon Newhouse coming down pit road. Tough break for him. David Arute catching up to the back of the field as well. Caution does not come out. It's going to stay in the holster for right now, and we are still green flag racing. So race officials seeing a one-car incident here on lap number 3. We'll hold on to see if we need those 3 cautions later on.
Yeah, coming into this race, U-House was 6th in points, was 6th at the last road course race at Lime Rock, so that's going to be a big blow for the 61 team. Up in front, as you see, continues to be John Peters leading this field. There is the 15 of Kenny Kibbe closing in on Boiler for position number 2. And you look back through the field, everybody for the most part single file and trying to log some laps. The 10 car is around. That's Dale Glessner, his second start at NEP, and Brent Roy into the back of the number 10, so that's not going to help matters. And I'm not sure where Brent was going there. He was on the grass trying to avoid the 10 who had spun in the grass, but tough break for both of those drivers. They get going again, but no caution.
Yeah, no caution. A lot of big-time damage on the nose of both the 26 and the 10 race cars. You can see it there. Probably going to affect the, there you can see the tires a little bit kind of tweaked out on the right side there as well. So, man, tough break for these guys. Looks like Brett Roy's going to recover to 21st, and just looking, the number 10, Dale Glessner, he's going to be back there in 24th. So everybody's still on the lead lap at this point, except for the 61, who just lost a lap there on pit road. But still John Peters out front by a big margin, 2 seconds over second place.
And now at this point in the run, lap number 4, it's just a matter of trying to keep all 4 wheels on the paved surface of this racetrack, just trying to look through this field, and everybody's kind of found a place to race. There's no real side-by-side battles. U-House is back on the racetrack. Battle for second is the one that's on your screen, and that's probably the closest or more intense battle on this racetrack, but it really not a whole lot of pressure from Kibbe at this point. Just trying to keep that 56 car honest as they work through the final couple of corners here to complete lap 4.
Yeah, you can see leaving a big air gap between the 56 and the 15 here. Just kind of saving a little bit of tire, saving some engine. You see short shifted there just a little bit to keep from over revving in that second gear. But comes down to turn number 1, shifts down to 3rd, and just kind of eases back into the throttle here. So not really pressing the issue at this point. Lap number 5 of 30, still a long ways to go to Watkins Glen.
And as you ride on board with the second place battle in behind them, it looks like we got a battle starting to brew between Casagrande and Marhefka. That's Corey Casagrande and Devin Marhefka going for position number 4. And Devin started back in 7th, has moved his way to 5th. Corey Casagrande started 5th, moved his way to 4th. So a little bit of a battle, and not too far behind. That is Zane Farrell trying to close in on these two here. So for the most part through this field, Paul, there's a couple of 2-car, maybe 3-car battles. Unless you're John Peters and you're out in front by over 2 seconds.
John Peters fast, and no matter what he drives, wherever he drives it, and we're definitely seeing that here tonight. Looks like he lost a little bit of that lead, currently about 1.4 seconds, but still out front by a huge margin. Gonna have to take a look right now at the 09 of Dylan Kopech, looking at his Twitter earlier on tonight. He said he was probably going to hit everything out there on the racetrack because he's not very good at these road courses, but it looks like the car's in one piece so far so good. No dents or dings or anything like that. And he's currently running at 11th spot. So mid-pack runs so far for Dylan Kopech in the 09 machine.
And he enters this race tied for 4th in the point standing, so we're getting closer to that halfway point. I think we passed the halfway point this evening in this NEP Shift Marketing and Design Grand National Series. So one more road course, I believe, to come at Sonoma as well. So I'm sure that's on his calendar, kind of circled as a racetrack that he's not looking forward to. But you look at the traffic in front of him, he's got some positions that he can pick up here in the next couple laps. He's got Charles Lewandowski, he's got Anthony Aiello right ahead of him. And then you got a couple of cars that are falling a little bit closer back. Got my eye on Ryan Libby. After starting up in 4th, Paul, he's being passed by the 01 of Lewandowski, and Libby's going backwards.
Yeah, looking at the 46 machine right now, it doesn't look like he gave too much of a fight there for Lewandowski. He just kind of let him go on by, so not sure. Don't see any damage or anything on that race car. I don't think it's hurt in any kind of way. Maybe he's just trying to either back up and save some tires, or he may very well have blown out the tires, kind of wore them down just a little bit, running too hard these first couple of laps, but definitely backing up into the clinches of Dylan Kopech at this point. You can see actually Kopech moving into the 10th position, so if he gets around Libby, that'll be P9.
So consistently getting some positions is Dylan Kopech after starting in that 17th place position. John Peters continues to lead, almost 2 seconds again, back on Evan Boiler, Kenny Kibbe, and Corey Casagrande, who's holding off Devin Marhefka. And Zanie is closing in on a top 5 run and currently sitting in position number 6, about 8 lengths or so behind the 22 car of Devin Marhefka as we work lap number 7 of 30 at the Glennie.
Doing a great job, number 14, just kind of biding his time right now. You can see there's a lot of space there between the 14 and the 22, but there you see 14 really, really good in that dogleg. Closes up almost half the distance between those two race cars. Really going to put a little bit of pep in the 22 step as he's going to try and race out while looking. There you see, just going to say he's going to be racing out the windshield and looking in the rearview mirror at the same time. May very well make him a mistake, and there you see he lost the back end of that race car in that 22 Monte Carlo. So you can see the 14 of Zanie right on the back bumper of Devin Marhefka.
Trying to get a top 5 run early in this one as they come off the final corner, come down the front straightaway. It will be Marhefka continuing to hold on to position number 5, but we'll see what the 14 can do here. Get a run maybe into corner number 1, maybe outbreak the 22. Not close enough to do anything there, but closes into about a car length or so. And just in front of them, Corey Casagrande, you kind of saw him on the corner of the shot just trying to pull away from this battle for position number 5 as John Peters continues to lead. The gap is stabilized to about 1.8, 1.7 seconds or so over the 56 of Boiler, and he's pulled away from Kenny Kibbe.
Pulled away from Kenny Kibbe, and those guys have about 7 seconds back to that 4th place battle we were just taking a look at right there. Corey Casagrande currently 9 seconds behind the leader. A lot of still single-wide action at this point. Nobody really going too crazy, running too hard at this point in the race. They know there's still a long way to go. We're coming up on about a third of the way through. Still 2/3 of the laps left here at the Glen for the Zanie at the Glennie 30-lapper here at Watkins Glen. So not really often we see these guys turn right and left, and you can definitely tell, Tim, these guys had some practice throughout the week, because there's not a lot of times when you see guys that only run on circle tracks come out to the road course or do something a little bit out of the ordinary. Usually you see some kind of a calamity.
But there's a lot of respect between these drivers. Ryan Pasoko is off coming out of the bus stop area. He's going to lose 3 spots in the 74. Had my eye on that battle right behind him, Paul, which is now the battle in front of him. Wyatt Alexander, Jason Ricker going at it, which would now be about 17th place or so. And just ahead of them, it looks like the 64 of Michael Bennett may have had an off or something go wrong with his race car, because Scott McDonald has just made the move in the 44. So we just talked about it being calm, cool, and collected. These drivers about mid-pack are starting to get racy.
Riding on board right now with Michael Bennett. You can hear the race car sounds just a little bit off, but not too bad. Still under power, and you see he loses the back end a little bit. Jason Ricker in the number 9, and Wyatt Alexander now in the 96 going to get on by. Looks like the 64 backing up just a little bit. I'm not sure if he hit anything there, Tim, damaged the race car, or some sort of mechanical issue.
Well, we'll see how this all transpires. If they do have a caution flag, he might have an opportunity to come down and maybe fix some of the damage that might be on that race car. But looking through the field, it's still those 3-car battles, Paul, that everybody has kind of found a place to race. I'm sure later on in the race, if they do get a caution flag, because we don't know, we were told up to 3, so up to 3 could mean 0. But if they do have a caution flag to bunch up the field a little bit, that could be where it gets a little wild and, no pun intended, gets a little zany.
Absolutely. You can see Corey Casagrande still looking out his mirror at this battle for 5th place between Zanie and Devin Marhefka. Zanie currently running 6th, Marhefka in the 5th position. It seems like it's kind of cooled off just a little bit right now, running in each other's tire tracks, kind of biding their time, waiting to see if they can either maybe make the opponent make a mistake here. This is where we saw Zane earlier on, very, very strong, and you can see, again, closes right up to the back bumper of the number 22, gets right up to it, and then he seems to back off just a little bit, just to kind of let Marhefka know that he's there, but he's not trying to push the issue just yet.
I think the only thing he might be trying to push is Devin Marhefka to maybe make a mistake, maybe overdrive that race car, overdrive one of these turns, and have the opportunity to get by. He's been just close enough to look out that rearview mirror and see that 14 there, as long as he doesn't overdo it and have an off or dip wheels off this racetrack. He's doing everything that he needs to do right now in the 22 to stay ahead and stay in the top 5 ahead of Zane Farrell. 10 of the 30 laps have been completed here at the Watkins Glen. International, and currently it is John Peters up in front. He hasn't been able to get back up to that 2-second gap at the stripe. He was there on lap number 3, Paul. He lost a little bit of time on lap number 4. Hasn't been able to reestablish a 2+ second lead. He's getting close, about 1.9.
And speaking of losing a little bit of time, there you saw it while we were riding on board with the number 14, Zane Farrell. Big time loose in that race car, lost a whole bunch of time on the number 22 of Devin Marhefka, and that kind of freed up space in the back of his mind, because now it looks like he's getting under fire, attacking the number 52 of Corey Casagrande, slowly moving into that back bumper.
Maybe it's a little fire underneath him to kind of get up there and make a little bit of a move. Casagrande's held on to position number 4 since the opening few laps of this race, but now he might have a little bit of pressure from Devin Marhefka in behind, and the good thing for Zane Farrell right now is he doesn't have to put that pressure on and maybe overcooked it just that little bit. So now he has an opportunity to get back into a rhythm and start to ride a little bit. Ryan Pasoko down on pit road. We saw him off a little bit earlier, and I think he's got a little more damage than what he had before. He'll come to pit road to the attention of his crew.
Big time damage on the right side of that race car there. You can see he gets stopped, uses a reset, so he's going to get a brand new car. Lose a lap or two here in the process because it looks like they're going to put tires on that car as well. But back up front, the champ's still here. Still working that lead, making it grow just a little bit. 2.4 seconds over Evan Bellew in the 56 car. Kenny Kibbe 15, currently running at 3rd. Corey Casagrande 4th. And Devin Marhefka 5th. Right on the back bumper now of the number 52 machine of Corey Casagrande.
Been keeping a close eye on that battle we talked about a little bit earlier, Paul, in between Jason Ricker in the 9 at 14th place, and goes back to Wyatt Alexander, Michael Bennett, Scott McDonald, and there's Brandon Uhouse as well. So Uhouse came down, got that quick repair, and he is back ahead of Brent Roy. So there's a couple of drivers there that had offs earlier that are still on the lead lap, albeit they're 52 seconds behind the leader. But they've had an off, and they've been able to rebound just a little bit as Uhouse looks at McDonald for 17th.
Watching that battle right now, and you can see the Little Trees car is making things happen with that new freshly reset car coming through the dog leg. You can see a little bit, or coming through the S's rather, coming out of the dog leg into that corner. Not really big on the whole road racing thing because I don't know what the corners are called, but work with us. That's what we do here for the ATV. But 61 machine doing a great job, great recovery so far. Hoping for a caution later on in this race, kind of getting back up to the pack, and maybe getting an opportunity to put either more tires on that race car, maybe bang out some of the dents and stuff like that. Kind of give him a shot, or may very well stay out, see if he can get some track position, restart out front of some of these drivers, and maybe come home with a top 5.
And after 12 laps, it is currently John Peters out in front. 22 drivers remaining on the lead lap. Dale Glessner is the last driver on the lead lap, over a minute behind. So in layman's terms, about 10 seconds or so ahead of the leader. As you see that battle once again, the 13 of Marhefka trying to make a move on McDonald as the 51 will come by this time. Complete lap number 13 on the racetrack, closing into the halfway point of the Zanie at the Glennie.
At this point, John Peters, the reigning and defending champion here in the NEPS series, just kind of out for a Monday evening stroll, taking it real easy, not abusing that race car at all. Still Evan and Kenny Kibbe behind him. Here you can see the battle for second. A little bit closer than they were before. You can see 15 of Kibbe not really pressing the issue too much, but definitely right on the back bumper, making sure that he's looking out for the 56 car to see if he's going to make a mistake, slip up, or maybe lose the back end of the race car that we've seen a couple of other drivers do here this evening.
They continue to battle for position number 2, and just trying to look through the field. Those 3 drivers that are up in front are 3 of the 4 drivers that are in the top 4 in the point standings, or top 5 in the point standings when you add Dylan Kopech, who's tied for position number 5. But they continue to battle. Kenny Kibbe trying to get by Evan Boiler for position number 2. And your point leader, Ryan Libby, we talked about him falling. He finally threw the anchor out. He's in position number 7, hasn't lost a whole lot of ground in the last few laps or so, kind of found that place to race. But Danny O'Quinn, Dylan Kopech, Charles Lewandowski chipping away, trying to catch him for what would be position number 7. So the point leader may lose a lot of ground here tonight as they go by Jeffrey Brown.
Yeah, moving it close together here for the Christmas break coming up here. The NEPS guys taking a couple of weeks off to celebrate the holidays with friends and family and all that good stuff. And You can see doing a great job. The 46 is trying to hold on to 7th. We saw him drop earlier on. Looks like a battle back here for 8th. Danny O'Quinn side by side with Dylan Kopech. Coming around the lap car, the 55, Jeffrey Brown. Looks like he's off the pace just a little bit. But Kopech moving his way up to 9th. Lewandowski back there to 10th. We talked jokes about Dylan Kopech earlier, saying he may very well hit everything according to his Twitter. But doing a great job so far. You see there's no damage on the race car. Nice clean race at this point, and still working his way up towards the front, trying to close in on the 02 of Danny O'Quinn.
And there's the 02 of O'Quinn on your screen, and that car looks pretty clean from this vantage point. Might have a little ding in the left side door, but not holding down a lot of the progress for the 02 of Danny O'Quinn. Had that off earlier coming out of the final corner, and I think that might have kinked in that door just a little bit on Danny O'Quinn's effort. Still sitting in position at number 8 as John Peters comes up out of the final corner. He'll come by this time and take the halfway point in this race. 15 down and 15 to go right there for the 51 of John Peters as he heads it down into corner number 1.
Still caution-free at this venture. We're taking a look right now, the battle for second between the 15 and the 56. See the 15, Kenny Kibbe has moved up to second. 56 now on all over the back bumper of the 15. Kenny trying to hold off that newly found second position. And, man, you can see these guys just right on each other's bumper. They're almost turning at the same time. A little bit of a wiggle there for the 56 as he backs up, loses about a car length. But a couple of drivers, looks like they've got a similar style anyway, because they've been running with each other, either battling or just kind of bumper to bumper for most of the race.
If this thing stays green, I'm interested to see if Kenny Kibbe can make any inroads on John Peters. John Peters has really turned the wick up about the last 5 laps or so. Over 4 seconds between himself and the next driver in line, which is that 15 on your screen of Kenny Kibbe in the O'Connor number 15 ride. Corey Casagrande, Devin Marhefka is that battle for position number 4. And Paul, they are almost 20 seconds back, over 18 behind the leader, John Peters. So this battle here continuing to heat up. Zane Farrell still a part of that battle, about a second between the 52 back to the 14 car. So there's still a little bit of a gap. There's still a gap to manage, but they've got a long way to go to catch even that second place battle.
Just taking a look at the timing and scoring right now here, Tim. A lot of these guys are running about a second, almost 2 seconds slower than earlier on in the race. Even the leader up front, John Peters, his best lap, a 1 minute 14 second .410. Last time by ran a 1 minute 16 second .184. So 2 seconds, almost 2 full seconds slower halfway through this race. You got to wonder if the caution comes out. There's going to be some guys that are going to try and stay out and get some track position. Other guys know they're going to be quicker with tires, so who's going to do what? Very possibly these guys coming down pit road for some tires. We may even see a green flag run if these cars, some of these drivers in the back, maybe see the opportunity to try and gain up some time.
I'm not sure what the fuel load is on this race car at Watkins Glen, but I would almost have to think 30 laps would be pushing it if it's not too far on these race cars. So we'll have to keep an eye on that if this thing does stay green. John Peters coming up on Dale Glessner to put the 10 car 1 lap down. He'll complete lap number 17 this time by as Glessner goes to the inside. Made his debut last week here in the NEPS series. Had a great qualifying effort, not the finish that I'm sure he desired. And Glessner with that damage from earlier on, still out here soldiering on, and he would be in the free pass spot if there was a caution flag at this point.
Still holding on for it, and you can almost hear the crew chiefs from down pit road. We need a caution. There's water bottles all over the track. We need tires on the race car. There you can see a little bit of front damage there from the number 10. Good shot on that, up in that fender, but still John Peters, you can see right now, really caught the tail end of the lead lap. We can take a look at his onboard. A lot of cars in front of him here. There you see the back bumper, the number 64, Mike Bennett. The 44, Scott McDonald's right in front of him. Brandon Marhefka is up in that group. So as is Brent Roy, just a few seconds in front of those guys. So John Peters, the champ, coming up in some traffic here. We'll see. So far, so good. Been able to get around. Big slide there, but seems to gather it back up. We'll see if these lap cars are going to cause any kind of issues here for Peters. I don't think we'll have anything like that because everybody's been pretty good so far about giving the space over to the leader as he gets around clean. So coming up on lap traffic here, Tim, we'll see what happens with the champ.
Yeah, the 64 of Michael Bennett just ahead of the leader as he pulls down low. The 51 will go up high, and the 51 of John Peters put the 64 in the rear view mirror. And next up on the list for the leader would be the 44 of Scott McDonald. There goes the 51 around the 64. McDonald is next up in the Sheraton number 44 ride as the leader is working at lap number 19 of a 30. So we're getting closer to the 2/3 distance mark in this one. And Peters continues to pull away from the battle for position number 2, and it's not really a battle anymore as Peters is going to go to the outside, and almost a close little call there through the S's and up the hill for Peters, but he will clear the 44. Got a little bit of space before he hits Marhefka, but it might be a little less than he wants to because Jeffrey Brown's right up there too.
Got a couple of cars battling for position, and these guys really don't want to just pull over for the leader, John Peters. As you can see, car going off into the distance there, and the 13 not putting up too much of a fight. They know the 51 is a lot faster. They're coming around to lap him on a 2.5 mile racetrack, so they don't really want to be in the way, but they are going to put up just a little bit of a fight to try and at least stay on the lead lap. You would think with all these drivers talking on Twitter about how hard this racetrack was with this race car, we'd be under caution a couple of times at this point, but everybody's still pointing in the right direction, and nothing, a couple of incidences early on, single car spins and whatnot, but nothing too crazy here for the Zanie at the Glennie at 30.
Jason Ricker just had an off in turn number 1 and not too far ahead of the leader. Ricker lost a couple of positions to Brandon Newhouse and Brent Roy down in that first corner, and they can't afford to have an off because the next driver behind Mr. Ricker is the leader, John Peters. So they are about 5 seconds or so from going 1 lap down or less if you're in the case of Jason Ricker. So keep it on the racetrack and try to maintain that position, and that battle between Newhouse and Roy, which is now side by side, is going to be the battle for position number 14.
Yeah, these guys got to move because John Peters right now at this point, after leading with a huge lead as he's almost a 6 seconds ahead of the second place machine. He's getting bored at this point. So what he's seeing is the back bumpers of the last car in a lead lap, and he's making it a target, making it his next goal, saying, I got to get around that car. And then he'll do the same, and he'll pick these drivers off one by one as he puts all these drivers down a lap. He gets a better opportunity to hold on to a front finishing position, even if we did come down pit road with the differing styles of stops. We may see some guys maybe take tires, hold out, try and get some track position, but at this point, and then that's even if the caution flag comes out, and we'll see if we have any kind of green flag pit stops.
And if we don't, I'm interested to see how John Peters does with this lap traffic, how many cars he can put a lap down, and I'm sure that's what is on his mind as well. As the 51 passes pit entrance, we have Jason Ricker around at pit exit, and we're not going to have a caution, but Ricker's going to lose a ton of spots here because he can't get turned around with all the traffic.
Tough spot backing into almost that 90-degree spot there in the wall. Big time damage on the left front of that race car. The wheel is all jacked up as well, so the 9 car, the Aubuchon machine, tough break for him, getting into some issues there. There's Corey Casagrande coming up in the background there, much quicker, so 9 car at this point of Jason Ricker definitely under power.
And I think in behind Ricker, we may have a battle on our hands between Zane Farrell and Devin Marhefka. He's closed back into Marhefka. Battle for position number 5 as Marhefka slides it through the bus stop. Going to gain a little bit of ground there. And if they do come up in their lap car, that might be the advantage of Zane as they come by Ricker. And Ricker's going to keep it to the outside. And, well, Zane may have caught him at the inopportune time, I guess, and lost a couple more car lengths there on the 22. Better safe than sorry, though, at this point, right?
Absolutely. Still holding on to that 6th position, trying to get up there and get himself a top 5. And you can see Corey Casagrande still has that bit of a gap between the 52 and the 22. So Corey's still looking in the rearview mirror, trying to keep these guys at bay. They're doing a little bit of battle right now, but they're still just kind of riding in the tire tracks. The 14 is behind the number 22 of Marhefka.
Keep a half eye on this battle for second. Evan Boyler is back around Kenny Kibbe. Kibbe keeping the 56 car honest at position number 2. He's fallen a couple of car lengths in behind. I think Evan has found some speed, or at least found some pace in the late run on the older tires and the lighter fuel load. So keep an eye on that battle for second and see where that ends up. But the 56, I believe, may have found some speed here in the last couple of laps. But as I say that, there goes the 15.
Yeah, something definitely happened in the 56 coming out of the dog leg there. Very slow on the inside. The 15 got right up to his door, and there you see the 56 starting to overdrive that car just a little bit. He went down and clipped the grass just a little bit, and that slowed him down. You can see the 15 of Kenny Kibbe right on the back bumper, almost pushing him into the last couple of corners here, and you can see going to try and get alongside the 56 car coming out of the final turn onto the front stretch. Looks like he's going to think better of it. He's going to tuck right back in behind, try and study him a couple more laps. Still 6 to go at the line at this point for this 30-lapper here at the Glen.
Yeah, he doesn't need to be by him now. He needs to be by him when they come across the stripe to complete lap number 30. So kind of keep him honest. And we mentioned earlier trying to force a mistake out of your competitor, and that might be what it is back there. The battle in behind them. I say in behind, it's about 20 seconds or so, or 15 seconds in behind them. Corey Casagrande has pulled away, even though a little bit of an off there, goes a little wide in corner number 1. Marhefka chases him down. Zane Farrell not too far in behind him. And then we look back for battles, at least on the lead lap, Paul. There's not really anything brewing right now. Lewandowski's pulled away from Aiello a little bit. Wyatt Alexander just made a move for 11th place, and he's closing in on Lewandowski for a top 10 run.
A couple of cars about mid-pack here. There you see the 96, the 31 coming into your screen. Anthony Aiello. Haven't talked about him too much tonight. The number 31 machine. That kind of a throwback black and red and white Budweiser machine. Very cool looking ride there. Throwback to Earnhardt. And right behind them, Kyle Casagrande in the 7 car running 13th. Haven't talked about him too much tonight either, Tim.
And there goes the 31 to the inside of Lewandowski. Lewandowski goes wide in corner number 1, and that will open the door for 1 and potentially 2, because it looked like Kyle Casagrande was going to make the move, just couldn't get it set up on the 01 of Lewandowski. So move Alexander up 1 more spot, and we'll see where he gets near the end of this race, as the leader is working lap number 24 and closing in on the final few laps of this one.
Coming down to about 5 laps to go. You saw the 01 and the 7 hit the rumble strips, but didn't really slow either of the driver up. And you can see the gap still about the same. And there we see it. Caution flag is out. See if we can take a look what's going on around the track. Find out what came out with the caution.
I believe there's a little bit of fluid on the racetrack somewhere. I think that's what they were reporting, a little bit of fluid on the racetrack. Might have been from the 9 of Jason Ricker a little bit earlier on. Just caught that down to the inside of turn number 1 about 2 laps ago. So that might be the reason for the caution, because I'm not really seeing any other cars sideways or what have you. So this might be the opportunity. I would think they're close on fuel anyway, Paul. If that's the case, they come down. If they're not close on fuel and I'm completely out to left field, you stay out, but I would think you would come down and at least take tires in this thing to pick up the 2 seconds you lost over that run.
It's going to be tricky. I think we're going to see a lot of different styles here. I think we're going to see some of the guys in the back maybe risk it and try and stay out. As you can see, John Peters, huge gap behind him as he's coming up on the pace car heading into the S's here. But you're definitely going to see some guys come down and get some tires and try and help the handling of that race car. But just looking through the tapes here, Tim, I found the caution. It was turn 6. It looks like somebody took one of the brand new Teespring Vidane TV coffee mugs and they threw it out the race car, and the dang thing broke. So they're going to have to go check out teespring.com/shop/store/Vidane TV, get themselves a new one. You know, if they use the promo code Tangley, they get 10% off.
Oh, there you go. Tangley. That must be the Mike James code.
The Mike James code. Mike James from The Rock.
Excited to have him back on Thursday night for the Eastbound Esports Series. So if you're watching the NEPS Series, you heard a little bit earlier, this is their final race before the holiday break, the Christmas break. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everybody. They'll be back in January to resume their race for the Shift Marketing Grand National Series Championship. But Thursday night, if you're used to watching NEPS on Thursday night, you got a double header coming up. You got some Eastbound Esports, and you got some Tim's Corner Motorsports racing action. Super Lates from Nashville, Super Lates from Irwindale coming up on Thursday. So if you're looking for some racing action and you're a NEPS fan and you're used to seeing NEPS on Thursday, you still got some racing to fill that void.
For sure, a lot of super late model fans in the NEPS world and in the Vidane TV world as well. Everybody out there in the internet world watching us on the Facebook page is Tim's Corner Motorsports, the Shift Marketing and Design page, as well as the Vidane TV. We thank you. We welcome you. And also thanks to everybody watching over on YouTube and Twitch. We're not going to ask you to smash the like button or the subscribe button, but if you just kind of click on it, it means just the same. And there you see it. The leader, the champ, John Peters, leading everybody down to pit road, seeing if anybody's going to stay out. Looks like the 15 and the 56 both stay out, as well as the number 22 and Pasoko and the 74 stay out. 74 is actually a lap down, it looks like. So
it's an interesting call because you look at the leader coming down. With him being so dominant, you would think that those, especially those guys that are up front trying to keep the pace, would stay up there with him and come down pit road. The only lead lap car that came on to pit road, well, Kopech stayed out. As you see the race coming off of pit road here momentarily, I think there's only 2 on the lead lap. John Peters wins the race off that stayed on the racetrack.
Yeah, I did make a mistake. The 56 did stay down. The 15, and Kenny Kibbe stayed out. Dylan Kopech in the 09 stayed out as well. So bold move here, Tim. These 2 drivers going to see if they can hold off a hard-charging John Peters with brand new tires. With restarting 3, maybe 4 laps to go here at Watkins Glen, I don't know. That's a lot of time between start and finish to hold off someone as quick as John Peters.
I think the only mistake that somebody would make would be spinning the tires. And I think with the veterans that Kenny Kibbe and Dylan Kopech are on this iRacing service, yes, everybody sometimes makes mistakes, but it would be a rare one if something was to happen between those 2. It could be a huge point game for Kenny Kibbe if he is to keep John Peters in behind, and I say huge. A couple of points could mean a lot here in the next upcoming, I think, 9 or 10 races that we have left. But you look back to Ryan Libby, where Ryan Libby was earlier in this race, still hanging out around the top 10, so still plenty of time to make up a couple of positions, but your point leader might have to dig deep here in these last couple laps.
Yeah, and a few moments ago, we saw the number 74 of Ryan Pasacco going around getting a lucky dog. Real big opportunity to see what he's got. He's going to get 4 fresh tires on pit road and put himself at the back end of the lead lap here. So gives him a little bit of an opportunity to try and make some gains, try and gain a couple of positions in the points here as well. And just looking right now, the number 15, Kenny Kibbe out front. Dylan Kopech running second. Those 2 drivers stayed out. They're still on the original tires from the start of the race. John Peters came down pit road for 4 tires, as did everybody else behind him. Evan in the 56, Devin Marhefka on the number 22, Corey Casagrande, Zane Farrell, Ryan Libby, Danny O'Quinn, Anthony Aiello, the top 10.
We expect this to be the one to go lap, and indeed it is, so we will see the green flag next time by, so we'll have 3 laps remaining when that green flag comes out the next time we cross the start-finish line. Looking back through the field, I believe we're at 17 cars on the lead lap at this point, so still got a couple of cars on this lead lap. So if you do make a mistake, you do have an off down into turn number 1, and you're up in the top 10, you're standing to lose a few positions. So that keep it on the racetrack mentality that we had before in the first 25 laps when this thing was green still remains, but you also have to race your competition as well, because you could stand to lose a bunch of ground here in just 3 laps and not a whole lot of time to make it back.
You have to race yourself, race your race car, race the racetrack, and race everybody else around you as well. Really easy to kind of make decisions for yourself and control what you're doing, but it's tough to do that with everybody else. And these guys know they're going to have a handful, some old tires up front with Kenny Kibbe and Dylan Kopech. Real fast cars of 51, 56 going to be starting in the second row. And a couple of drivers, to a handful of drivers that have been battling all night long. Devin Marhefka finally makes it around Corey Casagrande after that pit stop, but Zane Farrell and Ryan Libby are still right there as well. So a lot of fast cars, a lot of cars that have been battling with each other, closing them all up and mixing up the tire strategies here, Tim, with old tires and new tires up front.
So they will work by these final few corners. This is the opportunity to kind of reset yourself, kind of ground yourself. Yes, it's 3 laps. Yes, you got to get what you can, but this is kind of the calm before the storm as they work behind the pace car and get ready for green. We'll see if Dylan Kopech can hang with these guys up in front. We've seen Kenny Kibbe and Evan Boyler battle for second most of this race. John Peters has led since the get-go, except for these caution flag laps. And Paul, we're about to see these guys get busy.
Last 2 corners here at Watkins Glen, closing final moments here of the Zanie at the Glennie 30. Have 2 more opportunities here for a caution flag. We heard from race officials there's only the possibility of up to 3 cautions at the race official's discretion. But the pace car is going to take that right-hand turn, go down pit lane. 09 of Dylan Kopech on the outside. The 15, Kenny Kibbe, side-by-side heading into turn number 1. Looks like John Peters is going to try and make it maybe 3 wide for first. He's not, but the 22 gets in way too hot, heading down into the corner and losing a whole bunch of positions See if we can back that up. You see he collects Kyle Casagrande as well in the number 7 car, and tough break for him as a huge mistake there for the 22.
Yeah, I don't know how he didn't want a 15. Cars there as Kenny Kibbe gets into Boiler for position number 2. Down the short chute into the bus stop, the 51 of John Peters has to find a way around these guys because the Kopech machine is pulling away. Gets to the inside through the bus stop with a 15, but now he'll be on the outside of Kibbe.
John Peters can still see the leader out the front of his race car, but he's still got the 56 machine he's got to get around. He's still got to finish the pass on the number 15. A couple of fast race cars. There you see, clears the 15 and the 52 of Corey Casagrande, moving into the back bumper, getting a side-by-side up to the door panel of the number 15 of Kenny Kibbe. He's going to get around him in the corner. Smoke coming from the back of John Peters' machine. John Peters, the champ, off track. He's down in the grass. He's going to lose a ton of positions. Going to come back on track in front of the 02 car of Danny O'Quinn. That's going to put him back in 8th position. Leader's fun. Dylan Kopech is around as well, Tim. Holy calamity here with 2 laps to go.
Kopech was battling with Boiler for the lead position, gets a little sideways off the final corner, and Boiler is going to go to the lead and is going to have about a second lead on Casagrande. The battle is now for 3rd. Here comes Zanie to the inside, battling Kenny Kibbe on those old tires. Kibbe is going to fall to 4th.
Kibbe falling to 4th, and here comes Zanie. Zanie up into the 3rd position, has Corey Casagrande in his sights, and you can already see he's pulling away from the 15, starting to pull up on the 52, and they're heading into a corner that we've seen him strong in that 14 car all night long. Into the dogleg. Watch as he closes into the back bumper of Corey Casagrande. A little bit better than a lot of the drivers through this corner, but watch the 15 as well. Right there on his back bumper, still holding tough.
As long as Boiler does not go off the racetrack and dip wheels, this should be his race to lose. John Peters, after that off, is sitting back in position number 6. He's got the point leader, Ryan Libby, behind him. And those last couple of races that we've seen here on Vidane TV, he's lost a couple of points here, a couple of points there. And now he's standing to potentially lose a couple more if he can't get up on the wheel here. Boiler comes out of the final corner. He'll come to the line and see the white flag.
White flag, white rag, big time wreck in the back. You see the 22 Marhefka Wyatt Alexander is involved as well. The white flag came out. The 61 is involved as well. Doesn't look like we're going to get the caution, but a lot of drivers wadded up here. There you see Marhefka trying to get it off the pole, off the wall there. But man, a lot of damaged race cars up towards the back, but we're still watching the number 56 car just out to drive at this point, taking a Monday night stroll, walking his way down to victory lane. Corey Casagrande is there, but he's about a second back and about a half a second back to 3rd place battle right now. Zanie Farrell trying to hold off the 15 of Kenny Kibbe all over the back bumpers on those bumpers, Tim, but it looks like 56 is going to be leading this parade.
Keep an eye on John Peters, so he is dug deep in these final couple laps. He's got by Ryan Libby, and now looking at those old tires of Kenny Kibbe for position number 4. That is a big battle when it comes to points after losing so much ground. But up in front, the 56 car of Evan Boiler works around the final set of corners, looking for a big victory here at Watkins Glen International. The Zanie at the Glennie. Final corner for the Hancock Lumber number 56. And Evan Boiler will come to the checkered flag first. He will win the Zanie at the Glennie. Corey Casagrande second. Zanie Farrell in 3rd. And Kenny Kibbe barely edges out John Peters for position number 5.
Tough break for the defending champ here, but he is able to still stay in front of Ryan Libby. That's going to equal at least a point. So tough break for Peters, but he's able to gain at least that little bit, a couple of spots towards the end. Ryan Libby, we saw him right there. 6th place, Anthony Aiello 7th, Danny O'Quinn 8th, Brendan Marhefka 9th, and our good friend Brent Roy in the top 10 here tonight, Tim.
Yeah, and after that wreck on the final corner, took out a bunch of good cars. You mentioned Wyatt Alexander was involved in that one. Charles Lewandowski, Brandon Uhouse, Dylan Kopech, after starting on the front row with 3 laps to go, falls to 14th. Mike Hopkins, Kyle Casagrande, Devin Marhefka, Jason Ricker, first car 1 lap down. Michael Bennett and Scott McDonald complete your top 20.
And closing out the back of the field, there we see Ryan Pasocco. Tough break early on. Got the lucky dog, but still 1 lap down there. You see the 12 car in 22nd, David Arute, Jeffrey Brown, Matt Kentfield, and Dale Glessner. The 10 car saw him in trouble earlier on as well. Rounding out the 25 drivers here in the race here. But we're looking at him right now. He's kind of making his way back around to the front stretch. Gonna probably see a little bit of a burnout action there for the number 56 as we see him win here. The Zanie Zanie 30, Zanie at the Glennie 30. I'll get that right once or twice. We're going to take a quick break, pay a couple of bills. We're going to come back with your top three. Don't go anywhere. We'll talk to you in just a moment.
International and the Zanie at the Glennie 30 for the NEP Shift Marketing and Design Grand National Series, and Evan Boilers in Victory Lane. Evan, it wasn't the finish that maybe we expected. Saw John Peters pull away. You guys battled for second for most of the race. Talk about what the mindset was when that caution flag comes out so late.
Yeah, the whole decision is whether you take tires or not, and track position's king at these road courses. We were lucky that we had 3 laps left there at the end, but I figured whatever 51 was doing, I was going to do. I knew Kenny was going to do the opposite of whatever him and I did. But tires were important tonight. John had a great race going. I was waiting for his tires to fall off. I was trying to conserve most of the race, and yeah, he never fell off. So it was a great race with Kenny the whole race there, and then got that restart. And Dylan Kopech, I'm his best friend right now, or he's my best friend right now. He got a monster of a start around the outside on that in turn 1, and I was able to follow him through.
We talk about the diversity of this schedule. We go to big racetracks. We go to mostly short tracks, mostly 1 miles or less, but then we go to a road course. How big is it to pick up a road course win for momentum?
Oh, this is great. I spend a lot of iRacing time on road courses. I do the IMSA series a lot. I've really tried to get better at road racing. I'm an oval guy by my background, but I love racing on road courses. I wish there was more opportunities to do it for real. So to win on a road course is pretty special, very special.
Got about half the season to go here. We head into the Christmas break, sitting 4th coming in on the championship standings. Is there any sort of comeback trying to be mounted in the second half of this season here to try to take a championship away?
Yeah, I think so. We've had a few bad races to start the season. I mean, we started off at Daytona leading going into turn 3, and then we end up 20th. So, we've been climbing ourselves out of a hole ever since then. And, yeah, just got to be consistent every week. Unfortunately, when you race with guys like John and Ryan, you got to put wins in the column. You can't top 5 your way to a championship racing against those guys. But for the rest of the season, you got to limit mistakes, and that's just what we're going to do.
Who do you want to thank for this effort? Who's on the team? Who do you want to thank on the race car?
I got to thank my great sponsors: Hancock Lumber, Buller Construction, Restorations, Home Remodeling. Robbie Harrison Race Cars. This is a throwback to him. He's got our super late model right now. We should be getting it soon. and getting ready for the real season. It'll be here before we know it. And obviously, I got to thank my family, my mom, my dad, my wife, Lindsay, lets me do all this. This is just great. My whole crew that helps me in the real deal, they support me every week. This is a ton of fun. It's great content, and obviously got to thank Shift Marketing and you guys, Vidane TV, for everything that you guys do broadcasting his races. Like I said, all of our friends, family, fans, they get to watch this week in and week out, and I hope we put on a good show for you guys. You guys do a great job.
And they have a lot to be excited for tonight. Evan Boiler goes to victory lane here this evening at Watkins Glen. Huge win here for the 56 team. And Paul, I believe you've caught up with a guy who had a great run at the end. It comes from 5th, finishes in 2nd, Corey Casagrande.
Yeah, great run for the number 52 here. Corey Casagrande saw him battling back in that 5th position for most of the night. Finds himself up in that 2nd position. Corey, talk us through your race.
Yeah, it was surprising for me. Road course racing, obviously don't do a lot of it on the game either, but it was fun. I had a blast. We lucked out with no cautions early, I think, and just kind of setting our own pace. We didn't really have any a ton of pressure from behind at all, and put stickers on at the end and lucked out a couple spots. I think we were even catching Evan there on the last lap, but I'm happy with the 2nd, so it was fun.
Strong showing here for the number 52 machine. Now, you're the one that actually finally got me to open up the Vidane TV Twitter. Definitely check us out at Vidane TV. I think they put the @ symbol in front of it on Twitter. I'm still learning. But we see you've released a lot of, a little bit of your schedule here for the real racing in 2021. Have you got anything concreted or cemented in for next year?
Nothing too crazy so far. We'll definitely, obviously COVID could still throw a wrench in plans, but I think we'll definitely be going to Hickory and Stafford in April. Probably Thompson, definitely Thompson, I should say. And we'll go to Jennerstown in August. And then we're still waiting for everyone to come out with their schedules, and we should put together a pretty, a 10 to 14 race schedule for us, and hopefully a couple stops down south.
Awesome. So Corey Casagrande doing a little bit of traveling, hopefully next year, depending on what the COVID-19 stuff does here with us all over the country and the world, really. But who makes it happen for the 52? Who gets you to the track, and who would you like to thank here tonight?
Yeah, I just got to give out a shout out to Bruce Haley. This is his throwback, my girlfriend's dad, from 1987 Busch North Series. And, obviously my real life sponsors, Charlie Performance, Kesgreen Builders, Wicked Power Sports, everyone, Rad Auto Machine, and everyone that helps me get to the track every week. But it's a good to have you guys around for the off season and get us some airtime for our sponsors and our fans and whoever likes watching us play video games. I think it's pretty cool.
Definitely a neat concept, and you guys here at NEPS always put on a fantastic show. Fantastic run here for Corey Casagrande and the number 52. Congratulations. Looking down a pit road just a ways there, Tim. Looks like you've caught up with the man himself, Zanie. 3rd place finish in that number 14 ride.
Okay, Zanie, I got to ask you before we talk about the finish. 3 laps to go, going down into turn number 1. The 22's doing a 4-wheel slide. What was going through your mind trying to get by that?
Don't hit me. I thought he was going to come back up and just clean out, me back to the back of the field. But I kind of like braced for it, knew it was coming. And when I got going there, and I was waiting for it, and I never felt anything. And I said, no, I saw him hitting a couple other cars. So I just punched the gas and went, and then didn't look back.
Kind of paced yourself around that battle for 4th, 5th all night long, coming home with a top 3 finish after the race that we had in the crazy finish at the end. Are you happy with the night, the way it ended?
Yeah, I am. I feel like as this past update really changed these cars around, so I kind of had to change my driving style a ton to drive these cars. They're definitely a lot different than when we were here the last time. I just kind of bide my time, and I was overdriving it 100% overdriving it. And I just started backing off. When I noticed we had like a 20-25 second gap, I kind of just settled in, and I was like, I'll just finish here, and just hang out. But then when the caution came out, it couldn't have come at a better time.
So we're about halfway through this season. We come into the holiday break now. What do we got to do in the second half of the season? What are you most excited for in 2021?
I'm most excited for a lot of the races coming up on our schedule. One race I'm really looking forward to is Oxford. We ran Oxford last season, and it turned out to be a really good race, and we were all kind of like writing it off, figuring that it's gonna be a crash fest, and there was, I don't think, our first caution until like lap 50 of 75. So I'm hoping we get the same result because we're gonna run 100 laps this year there. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. I can't wait for it.
Who do you got in this race car? I know you got a lot of fans that are cheering you on, and I know there was somebody riding with you on that race car tonight too, wasn't there?
Yeah, I noticed last night in practice, Baron put a sticker on my friend Brandon, who designed an awesome paint job. He put Lacey's name on the car, and I noticed it last night in practice.
Who else do you got on the race car? Sponsors? Anybody watching you want to say hello to?
Just my mom and dad. They watch every week. Lacey watches every week. I don't know if my sister and her husband are watching. I usually tell them, but I don't know if she forgot or what. But that's about it.
Well, you gave them something to cheer for tonight. Congratulations.
Thank you.
There's Zane Farrell finishing position number 3 here this evening, Paul. A great run by these NEP guys, and exciting little finish. And now we head down the road and do some short track racing coming up. For those that are watching here, we got a Thursday night doubleheader. So while we're not going to see NEPS, we are going to see some short track racing.
Yeah, we've actually got an official double-double, 2 doubleheaders here this evening, Wednesday and Thursday night. Nothing going on tomorrow night, but Wednesday we got the Tim's Corner Motorsports weekly series at Oxford, and after night, Showtime Cup Series making their Vidane TV debut, and we know they're out there watching here tonight. These guys run the NASCAR Cup teams, the Cup cars. They run the Cup schedule, and they are 6 races into their current season, looking to crown a champion. They signed us on with here at Vidane TV for the next 23 races, and you'll be able to catch them Wednesday nights weekly, every single week here on Vidane TV at 9:15 p.m. Eastern. So very excited to have those guys on board. And you made mention as well, Tim, another doubleheader. Thursday night, Eastbound Esports, Tim's Corner Motorsports special event going on. And then Friday night, still up in the air, is the Crash for Cash Promotions race, the Irwindale Insanity 200. Saturday night, Sim 500 Vidane Super Speedway race. Back here at 10:30 p.m. Eastern on Saturday night. So late night Saturday, Super Speedway racing, and 4 races, 4 winners. We finally got the clarification on the point standings, or the points deal with that. You win, you're in, and we added 2 more positions for the top 2 drivers in points without wins. So giving 10 drivers an opportunity for the last 3 races of the season to go for that beautiful Pro-Am Belts custom championship belt for the champion, as well as a free ride in a rental race car street stock at Stafford Speedway. But great racing as always here, Tim. A lot of not so much trash talk, but not some high confidence on Twitter and social media. Check these guys out on all the social media outlets, Twitter especially. And man, it seemed like we were going to have a rough one, but only a couple of single car incidents, 1 caution towards the end, Tim. Exciting finish.
Very exciting finish, and now the next time that we see these guys will be January 4th. They'll come to Charlotte, and then later in the week, as Zane kind of mentioned, we're going to go to Oxford. So you want to talk about the different racetracks that we have. We go from a road course after the holiday break. We go to the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and then we go to the tight little bull ring in Oxford, Maine. So this is going to be a very exciting schedule, very exciting second half for the NEPS guys. And when you look at this race tonight, Ryan Libby still holds a point lead over John Peters and Kenny Kibbe. So they'll have a time to sit back and rock around the Christmas tree and then get ready for the second half of this year.
Absolutely. We also have our New Year's bash that we're planning here tonight as well. We may not go all night. We may come on for a couple of hours. But you know what? Depending on who shows up, we may go all night long, doing some iRacing, some Enduro racing, figure 8 racing. May even do a little bit of UFC, some wrestling, and possibly some live live acoustic music downstairs at the Angry Tree Guy Bar. But that's going to wrap it up here tonight for Vidane TV. Everybody at NEPS, Vidane TV, Tim's Corner Motorsports, myself, Showtime Paul Strickland Jr., and the legend in his own right, Tim Terry. We're going to call it a wrap here tonight. We'll catch you on the flip side. We'll see you Wednesday night for the doubleheader.